our bank, in these last 4 years, we have grown at a much faster pace. We have always grown at a double-digit growth. In 2016, we have slowed down somewhat. I would say significantly slowed down, and for several reasons. One of them is some of the biggest companies in Macau, they have less demand in terms of some of the traditional banking products and services. For instance, loans, in particular to the gaming industry and also to other sizable companies in Macau. And also the housing market has cooled down quite a lot, so we have grown less than in the past. Even the SME business has gone quite much more slower than before. So we are expecting, in fact, what we have achieved this year is pretty much in line what we have budgeted for 2016. For 2017, we are somewhat more optimistic, although we are still at the beginning of the year, but we are somewhat more optimistic. We are seeing some positive signs, and if things go normally, I think we can go to a higher single-digit growth type of figure. I think this is quite a good idea to diversify Macau, not to be only dependent on the tourism sector. I think the financial sector, although a bit crowded in terms of number of banks, but still can develop much more. For instance, leasing in my home country already exists for about 40 years. In many other places in the world, have a long history in terms of development of leasing, and of course Macau has some good characteristics for this type of business. My personal view is that for leasing is quite important, other than just changes in terms of regulatory framework. It's quite important to have a very competitive tax system to attract the leasing transactions to be performed. So because we as human beings, if there's no ground to change, our tendency is to stay put. And why should, instead of doing my normal financing through a banking loan, why should I use leasing? So it has been proven in many different places in the world that you need something to change the behavior of people and behavior of companies. And the best way, from my personal perspective, is you have to do it through tax incentives. That is quite important. So I think this is one of the main issues, and I think we have to have the perspective of going step by step. I think first of all we should go to develop the local market, and then later start to look for more ambitious projects like being a cross-border international leasing center. I think it would be quite difficult from my perspective to go directly to the top, which is become a cross-border international leasing center. You look at the history of Ireland, that has the leasing, if I'm not wrong, since the 50s. They have gone through a tremendous amount of change from a regulatory point of view, and they have to have a significant experience, they have to have very good professionals, not only the ones that are involved in doing day-to-day business, but you need accountants, you need good lawyers, you need a lot of different people in different areas, like in back office, that are experienced in this area for going to the next step. I think Macau should go step by step on that area, but overall I think it's a very good project. No, I think Macau, this is also my personal perspective, in these last few years, from a compliance management point of view, has made tremendous development and improvement. I think the local authorities are very much on top of things, and this APG has been a challenge to all of us, and I'm pretty sure the results will be quite good. We have been authorized dealer in Macau since 2009 to provide business in CNY. As you know, in Macau, the most popular CNY offer is, of course, bank deposits as well as credit cards. Not so much the lending in CNY because interest rates are much higher than in Macau Patak or in Hong Kong dollar or US dollar. And we have been also active since a little bit more than 1 year ago in terms of developing the offshore renminbi in our international banking platform. So, as you know, some of the countries where we are present, for instance, like South Africa, France, Spain, Portugal, Angola, Mozambique, Brazil, these countries are very good trading business partners of China. So we have been introducing this offshore renminbi in those countries through our banks present in those countries. So this is an area that we are very, very serious about, and we are following very closely with our parent company group the development of this area of business. In terms of our activity, the impact has been negative because taking out those customers that have investments or have business in mainland China, pretty much all the others, their source of revenue is Macau Patak, Hong Kong dollar, US dollar. So why did they invest in renminbi at the time and deposit in renminbi? I think probably the main driver, apart from diversification of investments, was because renminbi had higher interest rates and had also a track record of little by little appreciating against the other currencies. This trend was broken a few years ago, and the expectations have changed completely. So which has meant to the banking sector a significant reduction in the deposits in renminbi and business in renminbi. So that's not a positive factor. Also for Macau is not positive because the main market in terms of tourism is mainland China. And if renminbi is less valuable against Hong Kong dollar and Macau Pataka, this gives less competitiveness to our offer compared with the tourism offer in mainland China. That is normal. So if the business is more significant, is usually where we concentrate more. But in this particular case, I think we have to cross two dimensions. One, which is the size of the partner, but the other is our own size in those countries. So, for instance, in Mozambique, we are the market leader. In Angola, we are one of the most important commercial banks in Angola. But in Brazil, we are a very tiny bank in Brazil. So, of course, we have to cross the two dimensions. If the country's business dimension is big, and we are big in that country, of course, this is our main focus. If just one happens, is not exactly like that. Or if the country is small and we are small, which doesn't happen, of course, that will be little focus on that area. So we have to cross all these two dimensions. This is our position, and of course the country's own position in terms of ranking, in terms of business with mainland China. We have never thought deeply about that, to be honest. It's not something that right now we are reassessing a bit our strategy like we have done every 3 years. We have set a number of priorities here to be analyzed quite deeply, like in the SME business and like insurance, like the millennial type of customers, And we are now, with the help of international strategic consultants, looking into those areas. But we don't have still completely firm, sound ideas in the area that you mentioned.